So as I mentioned, Martin Luther, the great Protestant reformer, calls the book of James straw. When she hears Martin Luther call James that, Heather Davis, an ordained Presbyterian minister, is reminded of the three little pigs. And she writes this story. A mother wolf gathered her three little wolves to prepare them to go off into the world. But she warned them about the big bad pig. The three little wolves promised to be careful and promptly built a house of bricks. They settled in. The next day, the big bad pig sees the wolves playing croquet in the garden, and she wants to go in. The three little wolves go in the house and lock the door. The big bad pig gets out the sledgehammer, knocks the house down. The pigs run away and regroup. What shall we do? They build a house of cement. And the next day, they're out in the yard playing badminton, and here comes the big bad pig. The big bad pig takes his jackhammer, knocks the house down. The three little wolves flee with their lives. The next house they build will be even more secure. Armored plates, barbed wire, plexiglass windows. They feel very safe. But they're out in the yard playing hopscotch, and here comes the big bad pig. He says, "Let me in, let me in." They say, no, they lock the door, they're inside, and the big bad pig puts the dynamite by the door and lights the fuse. Kaboom! The house is in shambles. The three little wolves escape with just a scorched tail, and they have to regroup again. As they plan their next house, they wonder if the building materials might be wrong. So the next house they build is made of sunflowers and roses. It's got cherry blossoms wafting in the breeze. They take the small starter plants from the field and put them around to add color and delight. They divide the wildflowers and bring them over and plant them for walls and protection. The house sways in the breeze a little bit, but it sure is lovely, and they settle in. And then, here comes the big bad pig. He asks to be let in. What will happen? He thinks maybe he can blow the house down. So he huffs and he puffs, but he gets a whiff of all that beauty, all those flowers, all those blossoms. And he goes up on his tiptoes and starts dancing. And he takes another deep breath, prepared to blow the house down, and he can't. He's in such delight. The three little wolves are looking out the window suspiciously. Can they trust that this big bad wolf won't blow their house down? But he doesn't. And they go out and they play a game of wolf tag, including the big bad pig. Then they play piggy in the middle. They have tea and strawberries, and all four of them live happily ever after. It would be shorter to say it's easier to catch flies with honey than vinegar, right? But that's such a fun story, such a nice twist on that classic fairy tale. And the beauty in the story is not what happens to the big bad pig, but what happens to the three little wolves. They're the ones who make the change in the story, right? They opt for soft-heartedness and invitation instead of fleeing and responding in fear. This course correction and change of action can be found in the book of James. What are we doing to create beloved community that's gentle and kind and inviting? How are we growing in our inner life so that we become more generous and caring in the world? And what do we portray to the outer world by our interactions in it? James's advice encourages three things: deepening your connection with the divine, or that inner work of the spiritual life; a more gentle engagement with the world, or the outer work of the spiritual life; and behaviors that nurture the beloved community, or our life together. Here's the outline of the themes of James. Listen for the one that tugs on your heartstrings. Oh, and by the way, the next 4 weeks are all extrapolations of this outline in the first chapter. So these will be the themes for the next 4 weeks. Suffering can create perseverance and strength, can teach humility and patience. That's 1. 2, if you're asking for help from the divine and expect answers, be aware of your own divinity and seek love or justice or peace or other qualities that align with the divine creativity of the world. Number 3, lead with your listening skills. Follow up with your speech, keep anger at bay, and most importantly, act on what you hear. Number 4, true religion is not this. James quotes Isaiah 58 here. True religion is to care for the widow and the poor. Worship, liturgy, gathering on Sundays to sit and sing and pray and listen to me, these are activities, these are cultic activities that can make us feel good, but they ought to be activities that remind us of who God is or remind us of what love is. Activities that remind us how to behave with one another, and activities that compel our action into the world. I hear some of you saying this. What are we doing for the world? This is important. It's important to remember who God is, what love is, that we're all graced and gifted with God's presence, with the presence of the holy, with that divine within. It's important to be reminded what it takes to be in community on a regular basis, because often when we engage with other people, our humanity comes out. And finally, it's really important to be together as we go out into the world and show the world what love looks like. If we're just doing this, we're what Paul says in the letter to the Corinthians, we're like clanging cymbals. I'll say it again. Church, religion, the life of faith, spirituality, whatever you call it, has 3 components: the inner work, the outer work, and our work together. The world needs straw. This epistle of straw, the world needs followers of the way of Jesus, people doing the inner work, learning to love themselves in all their humanity, people who are aligned with the extravagant creativity of the universe, good people who bring words of assurance and love, mercy, and forgiveness, who seek peace and justice in their actions, and people with humility and grace, who don't let differences define community. Straw may not be what we use to build our houses, but it's certainly needed for the garden that we are trying to cultivate in our world. Amen.